Hi, this is DL and I wanted to present a video from a Tuesday night class that I recently taught, which was all about hips and loosening up the hip joint. So we're going to start in child's pose. Why don't you come on down to your mat, and of course you can modify this posture, so if you're not comfortable being all the way down on your belly, feel free to put something between your thighs and your chest, or you can be up on your forearms with your tail in the air. So come into a comfortable child's pose for you. And simply breathe. Put your thoughts in the state of mind of working with the body and not against. Of working kindly. And just see in this posture, where's the tension held in the body? Is it around the lower back? Maybe your legs, shoulders, neck. And because we are opening the back body here, allow that sensation of rounding and opening around the back tissue and over the body like a drape in all directions. So tissues, allowing to fold the tissues over, cut that part. Allowing the shoulders to round down towards the ground, and the tailbone to round towards the heels. And even the tissues at each side of the spine to round down along the sides of the body as you breathe. Maybe practicing some ujjayi breath. That's that ocean-sounding, Darth Vader-y sort of breath. And then what would it be like to roll the thighs inward towards each other and pull as if bringing the two legs towards each other? How would that feel in the spine? What would happen? What would change? Just explore that sensation or feeling. Notice there's a little bit of a lift upward as the knees come towards each other. Just in light force, you're pressing down into the ground. And release. And so it's not a big movement, it's just feeling what happens when we engage that inward motion. Feeling the length through the neck, perhaps. And then rest. Take a deep breath in between and then push or roll the thighs as if away from each other as you press into the ground, and feel how the gluteals fire as you move the thighs outward, and notice what that does to the spine. So again, we're not making some big movement. It's just a little push in to the floor as you engage the legs, rolling outward. Or simply moving the knees apart from each other, away from each other. And relax, and then breathe. A deep breath in between. And then I'm going to invite you to just put those two together. So just go back and forth, bringing the knees in towards each other, feeling the result. And then relax. And then as if away from each other, feeling the sensation in the legs, in the back, and release. And then going back and forth now. Maybe making it a little bigger. So everything moves in towards the center line on one. And in the second part, everything moves outward, away from the center line. And then relax. Placing your hands somewhere around the head so you can push up onto all fours, and then check that your wrists are under shoulders or perhaps a little further forward. Knees right under hips. We're going to do cat-cow. So let's exhale as we round the back upward. Inhaling, bringing the chest through the arms and forward. And my elbows aren't locked rigid, and the eyes of my elbows, the inner elbows, are facing forward a little bit. So there's a little bit of a swivel of bringing these elbows around, the inner elbow around to the front. And then you can start to get a little more organic in your shape so that it looks less like a yoga pose and more like movement through the body. Finding those tight spots in the back that need to be released. So extending and flexing the spine back and forth, but also allowing some lateral curves to the sides. Maybe even looking back at your hips. Stay with a nice full breath. Notice the connection of head to tail and how moving one immediately impacts that chain response. Good. And then rest back into child's pose. And I want you to think of your pelvis as a clock. And when we go back up onto all fours, you're going to be hitting the times of the clock that are 12, 3, 6, and 9 with your pelvis. So coming up again. And you're going to tip your pelvis towards 12 o'clock. So you're arching your back. And then towards 6, so you're tipping your pelvis down. Towards the 6 o'clock as if it were by your heels. And then off to 3 in a lateral motion. And 9. And try to keep your weight even on your left and right hand as you move just the lower part of the spine and pelvis along the face of the clock. And I have my lower legs on the ground with my feet flat, and actually my toes are together towards each other, but you can of course have your feet open and you can also have your toes back. So you might want to try, in fact I think I will, just the same movement but with my toes back. And just notice that it's a different sensation. And allow it to be, let the body start to lead you rather than thinking, okay, this has to be exactly 12, exactly 6. You can start to move around that whole clock face and just find what it feels like through the hip joint as you move your pelvis. And of course you can go in opposite direction of the clock as well, so feel free to do that. Really, we're just working with the lower part of the spine here, not so much with the upper part. Good, and then leaning back into child's pose. And we will come down onto our backs. So this is actually, let's come on to the back. This is the somatic portion of class. So just have your knees bent and place your feet a comfortable distance from your buttocks. Have your hands on your belly for now. And just give yourself a chance to arrive in this position. So feeling the ground beneath you and how it is supporting and where and what it is supporting along the back body. And then we're going to tune into the breath, so leaving your hands on your belly. Just notice as you breathe whether your belly is rising and falling with the breath, or are you more in your chest? So if we tend to breathe more in the chest, that is an activating breath. Whereas if we're breathing more in the belly, that is a bit more restorative and relaxing. So just see if you can find that belly breath for yourself. And one way you might be able to find it is if you put a little more pressure on your belly with your hands. So just pressing in, and then as you breathe in, push towards the hands. And don't resist too much. This is just a light, gentle pressure that we want to feel. And as you exhale, let everything fall gently back. Inhaling, pushing the hands apart. Feeling that meeting of the belly and hands, and then relaxing as you exhale, everything drops. Let's just do a few more breaths like that. If the hands aren't really working for you, or you find it difficult to add pressure here, then you can use a book or something heavy that's comfortable. You don't want to place a 50-pound weight on your gut, but something that you can, feel the muscular action as you drop your diaphragm to inhale. And one more deep breath here. And good, release that. Now think about what we were doing just a moment ago when we were on all fours with the clock face. We are going to explore the same positions of the pelvis, but on our backs. So 12 o'clock, you'll tilt your pelvis upward towards the head. And then the 6 o'clock down towards the heels. And for now, let's just stay with those two positions of the clock, so 6 and 12. You can have your hands wherever they're comfortable. It can be nice, though, to leave them on your belly so you can feel what's happening to the tissues here as you move. And the relationship between moving the pelvis and the core, the front of the groin. So just going at your own pace, but going slowly so you're feeling the entire articulation. When we go faster, we're missing information. We're it's like speed reading. You don't necessarily get everything. We want to get everything. We want the detail. Now you can start to explore, maybe tipping towards 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So now it's a little left to right rock through the pelvis. And you may notice or feel as though one groin opens as that thigh lengthens away from the body. As you tilt towards the opposite hip, just notice what's happening in relationship. And then you can start to add some different times along your clock face. Or make circles and really take your time with the circles. Again, so we're not speeding past the detail, but taking all the details in. Noticing places where you might feel a little tighter or a little stuck or jittery, just noticing all that's happening. And then also make sure if you're going in circles that you go the other direction, so get both directions in. And then returning to whatever points along the clock you want to explore more deeply. Or just letting it be organic and the body just leads you along different points. And then rest in neutral, just let everything come to a stillness. And sometimes if you're really getting in deep, the body might still want to continue to move because there's this flow happening. So just allow a moment of that and then slowly come back to the still point. So you don't have to just completely jerk the body to stop. Make the transition. And just see how that feels. You might even want to extend your legs here just to feel how your whole back line is connecting to the ground. And then we're going to turn onto one side. So go ahead and come onto your right or left. It doesn't really matter which. I'm going to use a blanket under my head. If you want to use your arm, you can use your arm, maybe a little both. And then you'll want to have your knees about level with your hips and your feet right down from your knees. So don't tuck your feet behind you and you don't want them open, just right down from your knees. So we're very squared off. And this hand can just rest along the side of the body, or if you need that arm to feel like you're not going to roll back or fall forward, that's fine to have a little bit of a brace here, a gentle brace. So what we're going to do, we're going to open and close the legs with the feet staying together. So kind of like a clam, you're just opening that knee and then closing. And when you close, just rest completely. So we don't want to hold on to knowing that we have to go into the next contraction up. We want to completely let go. And it doesn't matter how high you bring your leg. It might just be a few inches off the knee. Or you might find that you can raise it a little higher, but it's really not important how high it gets. What's more important is that you feel what's activating and release. And also that you're not rolling the body back with the opening. So the only movement that's really happening is quite isolated. It's just that leg. So we'll repeat this several times. Again, make sure you're letting go after each release, after each lowering. The other thing is feel free to go at your own pace. So even though we're working slow here, you can rest completely for several seconds, even a minute in between if you want to. You can also feel free to hold the leg up there for longer periods of time. So this is about you and what your body wants. So just allow yourself to take what you need. And try to relax everything except the leg that's working. This includes the opposite gluteal, which you might find firing, and see if you can just relax that. We'll do a couple more. And relax. Now let's just rest for a moment. Let everything go. Now we're going to keep the knees pinned together as we lift the foot. So this is the opposite of what we were just doing. So keeping the knees together, so it's this inward rotation of the hip. The foot is flexed. And then release everything, including the foot. And again. So notice what you feel here. What's different? What do you feel in your side body here, the upper body side? And again, you can hold anywhere you choose. Or simply lift and lower at a slow pace. After a few times of that, if you would like to take this top arm and wrap it directly over the crown of your head around to the opposite ear, then when you lift the foot, you can also come and do a little side crunch. The thing is that we don't want to bring the elbow forward and we don't want to roll back. So we're very much in a singular line here, bringing the foot and the elbow towards each other, and release. And again, just release completely everything, let your head go. And exhale down, inhale up. Good. Last time. Hold for as long as is comfortable for you. And release. And just let that arm support you on the floor or be alongside the body. Again, just check that you're not rolling forward or back through the waist, but right up on your side. Just note anything you feel through the back body or that hip. So we have one more practice to do here. So we're going to bring the foot, this leg actually, right out straight in line with the knee and thigh of the supporting leg. So just reaching forward with the heel. Notice that my foot is not on the ground. It's about level with my hip. And then from here, I'm going to swing the leg, keeping it in line with the hip. Just going to swing it back. My foot remains flexed. And I'm just going as far as I can, feeling the opening through the front of the groin there. And then swinging back and in, resting. So I open the leg, swing, and then close in. Now, if you'd like to, you can add this front arm. So as you open the leg, you can just open the arm slightly behind you. As you swing, let that arm move in opposition forward. So you're reaching away into the corner with this arm and back into the corner with your heel. So it just allows full extension of that upper side of the body. And then bring everything in and rest. So opening, there's a little bit of a twist here back in the whole trunk of the body, but not a big one. We're not doing anything too big here. So it's just opening that arm, extending the leg. Allow the shoulder to open really, but don't bring the whole body back. And then as you swing, coming forward with the arm, back with the leg. It's a really nice stretch. And then back in, and we'll do one more of those. Just take a moment to feel and notice the sensations that are happening. Okay, and then this last time, so reaching forward, make sure you're active through this foot, no floppy feet. And make sure you're even with your hip and not sagging in the leg or hanging off the hip. And then reaching forward and back. And bringing everything back in. Oh, that felt so good. All right, so take a moment to roll onto your back and just feel now the left side and right side of your body. You can have your legs bent or straight, whatever you'd like to experience. But really notice, wow, how does that side of the body we just worked feel? Does it feel closer to the ground? Does it feel longer or shorter? Does the other side feel a little congested? And then we can go to the other side. So for me, I'll pick myself up so I'm still facing the camera. You can just roll away. And make my blankie. So on this side, just making sure that your knees and hips are aligned, and again that your feet are directly down from your knees, so not tucked behind you. And really be up on the side of the body so that you're not rolling forward or rolling back, but right up on the side. So we're going to start with the feet staying together as we open and close the clamshell. Make sure you release completely. Again, it's not important how wide you open your legs. It's more the isolation of that working leg. This is definitely my weak side because I'm feeling a huge difference, and you might notice that as well. Interestingly, the opposite side, my lower gluteal wants to compensate for the weakness of the upper half. So, and if that happens, it might be better just to do a smaller movement, just to make sure you're using the right muscle for the job. And feel free to hold. And rest in between. We'll just do a couple more. Good, and relax. Take a moment before we do the next thing. So that was our external rotation of the hip. We're going to now do the internal. So keeping the knees together, we're going to lift the feet. So again, the foot is flexed here, it's active, and lower. Again, just check that you're not rolling your body forward or leaning back, but right up on your side. I really love these somatic movements, especially in conjunction with a regular yoga practice, because they are so complementary. The somatics gives us a greater intelligence of our own bodies and how they work and are meant to work. Good. One more. Hold. And if you want to wrap your head around, I forgot about that part, so we'll do a few more so that you can even that out if you want to do some side crunching, elbow towards foot, and then release. Release completely. It's sometimes difficult to remember. We're so used to holding our contractions, holding our stress, being prepared for the next thing. And if we hold that unnecessary tension each time, we actually weaken ourselves. The body wasn't meant to be in contraction 100% of the time. Good. And relax. And then it might be helpful to use this arm to give yourself some support as we extend that top leg directly out from the hip, 90 degrees, and then allowing it to swing back. And notice here, I just want to point out to you, I am not hanging off my hip here, close to the ground. I am elevated and even with my hip, so I have to really work. And then reaching away from the body with the heel. Good. And bringing that leg back in and rest. And then again extending forward. Notice what activates to help you hold here. And then swinging back. Trying not to roll with the leg through the upper body until we add the arm, then there can be a little more movement. Rest. So here, let's start to add the arm. So as you go forward, you can open that shoulder either directly up to the ceiling, or if it's comfortable to let it move a little bit and behind you, then that's fine. And then reaching forward with the arm as you reach back with the heel. Oh, and then bring everything back in. Feels so, so good. Okay. And again, forward. It helps to inhale here to lengthen, and then exhale, bring everything back in. So we'll do that one more time. Take a break in between, really release. So opening the leg to the front, inhaling, exhale as you sweep. Reaching forward, inhale, nice and long, and release. Good. Coming onto your back again now, let's just check in with both sides of the body and see how they feel, hopefully more similar to each other. And the body more fully relaxed, soft, supple, hydrated. If you want to take a long body stretch here, feel free. We're just going to come up onto our hands and knees again. And since we're working with the hips, we're going to do some lunging. So let's reach the left foot back and the toes on the ground. So just, there we go. So you can stretch through that calf. And then bring that knee in towards the chest, rounding through the back, and step that leg through into a square lunge. So we're not you know, we don't have the legs really open here like this yet. So just be in a square lunge, and I don't want you to move far over this foot. I just want you to stay up and work on bringing this back hip around to the front. So hopefully you'll feel something through the front of the thigh, the front of the hip, but there's not a lot otherwise happening here. You can start to get a sense of the legs moving in towards the center line of the body, towards each other. And just feel the length of the spine here. And then rest back. And let's go to the other side. So reaching out with the right leg, stretching that calf. Bringing that knee in, hugging it towards the chest, knee to nose, and then step through into the square lunge. Coming up. And again, just working to bring that back hip towards the front, feeling that sensation of the legs knitting in towards the center line, and feeling the length through the spine. So you would place one foot on the chair, the other standing leg facing the chair, and then simply lean into that leg. Now you would just have to make sure that your knee's not going too far over your toes here. So you might have to step a little more forward in the chair or a little more back with your standing leg for that to happen. So this can be your lunge modification. Okay, and then back. And if you need to do any cat-cow or any kind of releasing of anything, feel free. Okay, we're going to go into a wider lunge here. So again, reaching back with the left leg, stretching the calf. We're going to bring the knee to the nose. And then step through the hands, a little wider this time. Make sure that your knee is aligned with your ankle. If you need a block here or something to bring the floor up to you, that can be very, very helpful. So don't hesitate to use the things that will alleviate problems like, wrist issues, or just being able to have the trunk forward like this. There are alternatives. So again, we're just wanting to feel this leg opening up here. And it can feel quite different having the foot flat versus having the toes tucked. So you might want to explore that as you're here, breathing. And then resting back. Good. Taking a moment if you need to wiggle things out. And then reaching back with the right leg this time, working through that calf. Knee to nose. And step through the hands. Knee over ankle or behind ankle. Legs still knitting in towards the center line. That back hip rolling back forward, opening through that groin. We'll hold here. coming back. And working it out in any way you choose. We have one more set of lunges to do. This is going to be a high lunge. Okay, so reaching back with the left leg, stretching the calf. Nose and knee together. Stepping through the arms and then lifting that back knee off the ground. Now you're welcome here to stay forward. Just make sure that you are in, we don't want this kind of a thing. We don't want that kind of a thing. We just want the spine nice and long at the crown of the head. But you can be here, or you can take yourself up to your thigh if you would like. So it's up to you. Of course, being up here is a little more work. So again, you want that sensation of knitting the legs toward the center of the body. That's going to give you some stability here. And we're still bringing this back hip forward. Just breathe here. And feel free to do any upper body movement you would like. And then release. Let's come into a plank from here. High plank. If this isn't accessible to you, then just let your knees drop. Good. And then all fours. And now we'll work the other side. So reaching back with the right leg. Nose to knee, knee to nose. A knees to no basis. And then step through your hands and lift that back knee. Now here, one of the things I didn't say on the other side is that how wide apart your feet are from right to left can have an impact also on how easy or difficult this is for you. So you don't have to have, your feet in one line. You can have space between the right and the left, and that can add some stability. Coming up if you want, or staying low. Feeling the legs knitting towards the center line, that back hip coming forward. Really relate to your ground so that you're supported and you feel the strength from the ground through the bones of the body, rather than making it an effort of pushing away from the ground or trying to hold yourself up here. And then any upper body movement you would like to explore. I don't want to do anything too posy here. I just want to feel through the rib cage at the moment. And then coming back down, let's go back into a plank. Coming to your knees if you need to, making sure you're not sagging. And all fours. And let's come into a child's pose. Okay, it's time for Shavasana. So come on down to your mat and feel free to use something either under your head, especially if you are finding your chin kind of jutting upward. So we want everything to be neutral and in line. And also, of course, feel free to cover yourself with a blanket, which is, I think, what I will do with my feet. They're cold. Okay, so in a comfortable lying position for you, just let the arms be along the sides of the body, but some distance. The feet apart. And return to the sensation of the breath and that rise and fall of the belly that we were working with earlier. With each exhalation, soften all of the tissues that we have been working with, particularly around the hips and pelvis. You might notice buzzing or tingling or just a sense of aliveness. Everything we've done for the body. But the body is connected to the mind as well. So note how, not just how your body feels, but the state of your mind. Is it quieter? Is there a stillness there? And can you let down even more? Release your worries, your stresses. Receive the support of the ground and the pleasure of sensation in the body. Allow the muscles around the face to relax, the eyes, the ears, the jaw. Let any tension in the teeth dissolve. And let old energy drain through the hands and the feet. whether it be like smoke or poison. Just let it drain away, carrying all of the negative, all of the challenges, all of the illness away from you and into the earth where it can be recycled and renewed. And allow yourself for the next minute to be empty. Now feel free to stay here if you'd like, but if you're ready to come out, just begin to move fingers and toes. Take a long body stretch or a yawn. Bring your knees into your chest if that feels good. Just taking some movement for yourself in whatever fashion feels good to get you back and going. Rolling onto one side when you're ready. And then pushing up. Sitting comfortably so we can tune out together. So if this needs to be a chair for you, that's fine. Taking a moment just to be aware of your body now in this upright position. Letting everything resettle. Let's rub the hands together to tune out. Anjali Mudra at the heart. Breathe in, hold the breath at the top. And release. Breathing in to tune out. Om Shanti. 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 Om. Thank you. Have a great day.